to order for May 10th, 2023. Please rise as we're led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Legislator John Rickey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Will everyone please join me? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain upstanding as Legislator Phil Stockin leads us in an invocation.
Father, as we gather this afternoon, there are many things on our minds. We're very conscious of government structure in our country and our state and where we fit into that as a county legislature. And it be very frustrating at times, as it is right now, with mandates and changes and the challenges. Reminded of an account in the good book of a group of people that were demanded by government to make more bricks with less straw. And you helped them out of that situation, and we would not presume to suggest how we solve our problems, but we are open to your guidance and wisdom and insights that we might not have right at this moment. We just pray for your direction as we work through the things that are before us. I thank you today for the privilege that we have to be here, to meet in this way, the freedom to make choices, to operate. Thank you for those that work hard to help protect and let us have these freedoms. For our military, and then to take care of us in a local level, our law officers, first responders, fire, health issues. I just thank you for these folks and pray your blessing on them and their families today. For all who serve here in our departments and for the county and our municipalities throughout the county as well. So we come to you today with thanksgiving and with hope, and we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Legislators Stockin and Rickey. Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Mr. Barnes.
present.
Mrs. Burdick.
Here.
Mr. Curran. Mr. Seer. Mr. Demmett.
Here.
Mr. Fanton.
Here.
Mrs. Hanchett.
Here.
Mr. Harris.
Here.
Mr. Havey.
Here.
Mr. Healy.
Here.
Mr. Rickey.
Here.
Mrs. Ricketts Swales.
Here.
Mrs. Root.
Here.
Mr. Rumfelt. Mr. Stockin.
Here.
12 present, 3 absent.
Thank you, ma'am.
You were provided a copy of the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes of April 26. At this time, we need a motion to approve those minutes.
Is there a motion to approve those minutes? Thank you. Legislator Hanchett makes the motion and seconded by Legislator Root. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? They are approved.
You were provided a copy of the board meeting minutes of April 26, and we need a motion to approve those minutes.
Motion is made by Legislator Fenton and seconded by Legislator Burdick. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And those minutes are approved.
You were also provided a copy of the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes of May 8th, and we need a motion to approve those minutes.
Motion is made by Legislator Rickey, seconded by Legislator Havey. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Approved. That's all right, next time. At this time, we're honored to invite up to the front Sheriff Scott Cicerello under Sheriff Walt Magny, who, with the board, will be recognizing and celebrating Police Officer Week and Peace Officer Memorial Day. If I could also ask Public Safety Chair Steve Havey to join us. Welcome, Sheriff.
Thank you, sir.
Under Sheriff,
Sir.
podium's yours.
Sure. Do you have the proclamation?
I do. I'll read it after.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you, Chairman Harris, for the privilege of the floor. With Police Officer Week and Peace Officer Memorial Week upon us,
I think it's important to recognize those who protect and serve us and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice while doing so. In my near 30 years as a police officer, I've worked, knew, and was friends with 6 police officers that died in the line of duty. 6. That's roughly 1 every 5 years. These were all good men, husbands, fathers, partners. They put on their uniform, their bulletproof vest, their gun belt, kissed their loved ones goodbye, and never came home. Every police officer knows that this can be their fate, but they go to work anyway. I've heard the job of law enforcement officer described as hours upon hours of boredom interrupted by moments of sheer terror. Nothing could be truer than that statement. Being a police officer isn't easy. The suicide rate among police officers is the highest of any profession. And 70% of all first-time marriages end in divorce if you're a police officer. Police officers work nights, holidays, during their children's special events. Not really the kind of statistics you want to put on a recruiting poster. The cases that law enforcement officers investigate can be horrific. Crimes against children, suicides, homicides, fatal car crashes, notifying parents that their child has been killed in a car crash. These are all daily occurrences for our police officers. So not only is the job difficult, the emotional burden can also be very difficult for them to carry. So why do they do it? Most will say it's a sense of duty, to save lives, to serve their communities, to make a difference, to make their community safer for their children, are just a few of the reasons I've heard over the years. I don't know why they do it, but I can tell you I'm sure glad they do. So today, I would like to recognize and honor all members of law enforcement in Allegheny County. We thank you, we respect you, and we have your back. To all of those who have made the ultimate sacrifice, we remember you, we honor you, and we'll make sure no one ever forgets you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. A proclamation. Whereas by presidential executive order and resolution of the Congress, May 15 of each year is recognized as Peace Officers Memorial Day, honoring all law enforcement officers who have died in the line of duty. And whereas the week in which Peace Officer Memorial Day falls is celebrated as National Police Week, recognizing the important role that law enforcement officers play in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of all citizens. And whereas law enforcement officers perform an essential public service under difficult circumstances, especially today in view of the recent COVID pandemic and the nation's unrest. And whereas the vast majority of law enforcement officers are selfless public servants who accept as part of their profession being exposed to great danger in order to protect the life and liberty of others. And whereas these dedicated officers deserve to be honored for their willingness to perform that essential public service on behalf of all of our citizens. And whereas the Allegheny County Legislature wishes to acknowledge the difficult job we ask our deputy sheriffs and other police officers to perform, and thank them for their willingness to do it. And whereas the Allegheny County Legislature does hereby acknowledge and honor the service of our deputy sheriffs, as well as all other police officers who have served and are serving in the county. Now therefore, I, W. Brooke Harris, Chairman of the Allegheny County Board of Legislators, do hereby declare May 15, 2023 as Peace Officer Memorial Day, and the week of May 15 to 21, 2023 as Police Officer Week in Allegheny County. Thank you. Slide this out of the way. We'll get a couple pictures real quick. Thank you again, Sheriff and Under Sheriff. At this time, I would like to ask up to the front of the room, please. Bonnie Van Housen, EMS Coordinator for Allegheny County. She will be discussing briefly EMS Week proclamation and, EMS Week. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
I just want the county to realize how lucky we are for the EMS that we have and that we provide for our community. We have 18 agencies who provide EMS care for the 46,000 citizens of our county, of our county, and they show up, and on your worst moments when they show up, they're volunteers. A lot of them are volunteers and don't get paid. They get up and leave their Christmas dinner, their kids' birthday parties, their jobs, if it's allowed. So I just want, if the week of May 21st through the 27th is EMS week. If you see some of them during that week, if you can just give them a thank you for what they do, whether they're paid or not, they show up and they do a lot for our county, so.
Thank you, Bonnie. A brief proclamation. Whereas emergency medical services are a vital public service, and whereas Allegheny County has groups of dedicated emergency medical providers who save lives and reduce disabilities of the critically ill or injured through their training and skill, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And whereas emergency medical services have taken a major role in pre-hospital care, providing preventative medicine, follow-up care, and access to telemedicine. And whereas Allegheny County's emergency medical services system consists of first responders, emergency medical technicians, critical care technicians, paramedics, firefighters, educators, administrators, as well as trained members of the public. And whereas individuals who are part of an emergency medical service agency, regardless of whether career or volunteer, undergo hours of specialized training and continuing education to reinforce their life-saving skills and knowledge. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week, now therefore I, W. Brooke Harris, Chairman of the Allegheny County Board of Legislators, in recognition of this event, do hereby proclaim the week of May 21st to 27, 2023 as EMS Week in Allegheny County. Quick picture. Is there anything on our desks today?
Yes, the report of interfund transfers and tax bill corrections approved by the county administrator in April. County Treasurer Terry Ross filed a copy of Allegheny County's annual report of financial condition to the New York State Controller, Appendix A, and financial report of component units, Appendix B, for the year ended December 31st, 22 in my office on May 10th. The memorial service for Lee Gridley and William Haney, scheduled for May 20th, has been postponed until Saturday, September 23rd at 4 p.m. in St. Patrick's Hall in Belfast. W. Brooke Harris, Chairman of the Allegheny County Board of Legislators, hereby appoints Darlene Krischer-Meehan of Andover, New York, as the alternate landowner representative member of the Region 9 Fish and Wildlife Management Board for a term of 2 years, commencing immediately and expiring December 31st, 2024, subject to confirmation by the Board of Legislators. W. Brooke Harris, Chairman of the Allegheny County Board of Legislators, in a joint measure with Howard Van Rensselaer, Chair of the Cattaraugus County Board of Legislators, has reappointed the following individuals to serve as members of the Cattaraugus Allegheny Workforce Development Board for a 3-year term commencing January 1st, 2023 and expiring December 31st, 2025. Leslie Chrisman, Brian George, Brad Monroe, and Steve Simon. They are also appointing a new member, Kathleen Martell. W. Brooke Harris, Chairman of the Allegheny County Board of Legislators, hereby reappoints the following as members of the Allegheny County Youth Board for a 3-year term commencing immediately and expiring March 25th, 2026, and this is subject to confirmation by the Board of Legislators. Deborah Almec and Sherry Wyrich. The chairman read the proclamation declaring May 15th through the 21st as Police Officer Week and May 15th is Peace Officer Memorial Day in Allegheny County. He's also declaring May as Older Americans Month. Whereas Allegheny County includes a growing number of older Americans who contribute their time, wisdom, and experience to our community. And whereas Allegheny County benefits when people of all ages, abilities, and backgrounds have the opportunity to participate and live independently. And whereas Allegheny County recognizes our need to create a community that offers services and support older adults may need to make choices about how they age. And whereas Allegheny County can foster communities of strength by not limiting our thinking about aging, exploring and combating stereotypes, emphasizing the many positive aspects of aging, inspiring older adults to push past traditional boundaries, and embracing our community's diversity. Now therefore, W. Brooke Harris, Chairman of the Allegheny County Board of Legislators, hereby proclaims May 2023 to be Older Americans Month and urges every resident to recognize and celebrate our older adults and the people who support them as essential contributors to the strength of our community. The chairman is also declaring May as Mental Health Month in Allegheny County. Whereas mental health is a part of overall health, and mental health helps to sustain an individual's thought processes, relationships, productivity, and ability to adapt to change or face adversity. And whereas mental health illness adversely affects those abilities and can be life-threatening in nature. And whereas many people experience times of difficulty and stress in their lives in any given year, and such problems can contribute to the onset of mental illness. And whereas the area where someone lives plays a significant role in their overall health and well-being, surroundings can impact if, how, and when a person's needs are met, which in turn affects mental health, and having safe, stable, and healthy environmental conditions sets the foundation for achieving and maintaining good mental health. And whereas the value of recovery is well documented and people seeking help should expect to be met by a recovery-oriented behavioral health system and the knowledge and expectation that anyone can recover and or manage their conditions successfully. And whereas the early and effective interventions, those individuals with mental health conditions can recover and lead full, productive lives. And whereas recovery is highly personal and occurs via many pathways, and recovery is characterized by continual growth and improvement in one's health and wellness that may involve setbacks, and those setbacks are a normal part of the recovery process and not simply a moral failing. And whereas every citizen and community can make a difference in helping end the silence and stigma that for too long has surrounded mental health illness and discouraged people from getting help, and each business, school, government agency, healthcare provider, organization, and citizen shares the responsibility to promote mental wellness and support prevention efforts. And whereas every person, including those affected by mental illness, deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. And whereas the Allegheny County Legislature is very proud of the efforts of all mental health care providers, public and private, in rendering services to the residents of Allegheny County. Now therefore, W. Brooke Harris, Chairman of the Allegheny County Board of Legislators, on behalf of the members of this legislature, does hereby proclaim the month of May 2023 as Mental Health Month in Allegheny County to increase public understanding of the importance of mental health and to promote identification and treatment of mental illness. And the chairman read the proclamation declaring May 21st through the 27th as EMS Week in Allegheny County. And he also signed a proclamation and a joint measure with 8 Western New York counties declaring May 14th through the 23rd as Western New York Armed Forces Week.
Resolutions?
Resolution intro number 18423, designating County Administrator Carissa M. Knapp as the Records Management Officer for the County of Allegheny. This resolution is being offered by the Ways and Means Committee and has committee approval.
Motion's made by legislator Stockin, seconded by legislator Root. Any discussion? This resolution can be voice voted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried.
Resolution intro number 18523, reappointment of one member and appointment of one member to the Southern Tier West Regional Planning and Development Board. This resolution is being offered by the Planning and Economic Development Committee and has committee approval.
Motion's made by legislator Root, seconded by legislator Hanchett. Discussion. This resolution can also be voice voted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried.
Resolution intro number 18623, approval of apportionment of mortgage tax to tax districts and authorizing warrant therefore. This resolution is being offered by the Ways and Means Committee and has committee approval.
Motion's made by legislator Stockin, seconded by legislator Root. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Ricky?
Yes.
Mrs. Ricketts Swales?
Yes.
Mrs. Root?
Yes.
Mr. Stockin?
Yes.
Mr. Barnes?
Aye.
Mrs. Burdick? Mr. Demick?
Yes.
Mr. Fanton?
Yes.
Mrs. Hanchett?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Havey?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
12 ayes, 3 absent.
Resolution's approved.
Resolution intro number 18723, authorizing payment to towns and villages from additional mortgage tax fee retainage by county clerk, appropriating funds therefore. This resolution is being offered by the Ways and Means Committee and has committee approval.
Motion's made by legislator Stockin, seconded by legislator Root. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Ricky?
Yes.
Mrs. Ricketts Swales?
Yes.
Mrs. Root?
Yes.
Mr. Stockin?
Yes.
Mr. Barnes?
Aye.
Mrs. Burdick? Mr. Demick?
Yes.
Mr. Fanton?
Yes.
Mrs. Hanchett?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Havey?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
12 ayes, 3 absent.
Resolution's approved.
Resolution intro number 18823, approval of grant application by the Department of Planning to the New York State Department of State, Appalachian Regional Commission Program through Southern Tier West Regional Planning and Development Board for an Allegheny Countywide Trail Master Plan. This resolution is being offered by the Planning and Economic Development Committee and has committee approval.
Motion's made by legislator Root, seconded by legislator Hanchett. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Ricky?
Yes.
Mrs. Ricketts Swales?
Yes.
Mrs. Root?
Yes.
Mr. Stockin?
Yes.
Mr. Barnes?
Aye.
Mrs. Burdick?
Yes.
Mr. Demick?
Yes.
Mr. Fanton?
Yes.
Mrs. Hanchett?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Havey?
Yes.
And Mr. Healy.
Yes.
12 ayes, 3 absent.
Resolution's approved.
Resolution intro number 18923, approval of agreement between the County of Allegheny and Amadin Productions Incorporated for 2024 Allegheny County Tourism Promotion Package Campaign for the Office of Planning, authorizing the chairman to execute said agreement. This resolution is being offered by the Planning and Economic Development Committee and has committee approval.
Motion's made by legislator Root, seconded by legislator Hanchett. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Ricky?
Yes.
Mrs. Ricketts Swales?
Yes.
Mrs. Root?
Yes.
Mr. Stockton?
Yes.
Mr. Barnes?
Aye.
Mrs. Burdick?
Yes.
Mr. Demmett?
Yes.
Mr. Fanton?
Yes.
Thank you. Mrs. Hanchett?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Havy?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
12 ayes, 3 absent.
Resolution's approved.
Resolution intro number 19023. Approval of agreement between the County of Allegheny and First Transit Incorporated to lease capital equipment for the public transportation system, authorizing the chairman of the board to execute said agreement. This resolution is being offered by the Ways and Means Committee and has committee approval.
Motion's made by legislator Stockton, seconded by legislator Root. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Ricky?
Yes.
Mrs. Ricketts Swales?
Yes.
Mrs. Root? Yes. Mr. Stockton?
Yes.
Mr. Barnes? Mrs. Burdick? Mr. Demick?
Yes.
Mr. Fanton? Mrs. Hanchett?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Havy?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
12 ayes, 3 absent.
That's approved.
Resolution intro number 19123, repealing resolution number 16223. This resolution is being offered by the Ways and Means Committee and has committee approval. It was not pre-filed and it will require a 2/3 vote to consider from the floor.
Motion to consider is made by legislator Ricky and seconded by legislator Havy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that carries. And on the resolution, the motion is made by legislator Stockton and seconded by legislator Root. Discussion. This resolution can, Mr. Barnes.
Yeah. What was the resolution that we're deleting?
It was in relation to our sales tax extender. We needed to make a correction to some wording, and so the resolution forthcoming will replace the resolution we're repealing.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? This can be voice voted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's approved.
Resolution intro number 19223. Approval of a state legislative bill which authorizes the continuation of the County of Allegheny's additional 1 1/2% sale and compensating use taxes until November 30th, 2025, declaring existence of necessity and requesting passage of bill by the New York State Legislature. This resolution is being offered by the Ways and Means Committee and has committee approval. It was not pre-filed and it will require a 2/3 vote to consider from the floor.
Motion to consider is made by legislator Fanton and seconded by legislator Havy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. And on the resolution itself, the motion is made by legislator Stockton and seconded by legislator Root. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Ricky?
Yes.
Mrs. Ricketts Swales?
Yes.
Mrs. Root?
Yes.
Mr. Stockton?
Yes.
Mr. Barnes?
No.
Mrs. Burdick?
Yes.
Mr. Demick?
Yes.
Mr. Fanton?
Yes.
Mrs. Hanchett?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Havy?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
11 ayes, 1 no, 3 absent.
Resolution is approved.
Resolution intro number 19323. A resolution designating the County of Allegheny as the lead agency for the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act for the County Road 20 and County Road 51 Development Initiative. This resolution is being offered by the Public Works Committee and has committee approval. It
Motion's-
was not pre-filed and it will require a two-thirds vote to consider from the floor.
Excuse me, ma'am, on the two-thirds, motion's made by Ricky, seconded by Mr. Healy. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That's carried, and the motion itself is made by legislator Fanton, seconded by legislator Demick. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Ricky?
Yes.
Mrs. Ricketts Swales?
Yes.
Mrs. Root?
Yes.
Mr. Stockin?
Yes.
Mr. Barnes?
Aye.
Mrs. Burdick?
Yes.
Mr. Demick?
Yes.
Mr. Fanton?
Yes.
Mrs. Hanchett?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Havey?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
12 ayes, 3 absent.
And that is approved.
Resolution intro number 19423. Approval of agreement between the County of Allegheny and Hunt Engineers, Architects, Land Surveyors, and Landscaping Architect, DPC, for a space needs assessment for the Department of Public Works, authorizing the chairman of the board to execute said agreement. This resolution is being offered by the Public Works Committee and has committee approval. It was not pre-filed and it will require a two-thirds vote to consider from the floor.
Mr. Ricky makes the motion to consider, and it's seconded by legislator Root. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's carried. And on the resolution, the motion is made by legislator Fanton, seconded by legislator Demick. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Ricky?
Yes.
Mrs. Ricketts Swales?
Yes.
Mrs. Root?
Yes.
Mr. Stockin?
Yes.
Mr. Barnes?
Aye.
Mrs. Burdick?
Yes.
Mr. Demick?
Yes.
Mr. Fanton?
Yes.
Mrs. Hanchett?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Havey?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
12 ayes, 3 absent.
Resolution is approved.
Resolution intro number 19523. Approval of agreement between the County of Allegheny and Hunt Engineers, Architects, Land Surveyors, and Landscaping Architect for the analysis and comparison of potential locations for a new facility for the Department of Public Works, authorizing the chairman of the board to execute said agreement. This resolution is being offered by the Public Works Committee and has committee approval. It was not pre-filed and it will require a two-thirds vote to consider from the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Ricky, seconded by legislator Hanchett. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried, and on the resolution itself, the motion is made by legislator Fanton, seconded by legislator Demick. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Ricky?
Yes.
Mrs. Ricketts Swales?
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Stockin?
Yes.
Mr. Barnes?
Aye.
Mrs. Burdick?
Yes.
Mr. Demick?
Yes.
Mr. Fanton?
Yes.
Mrs. Hanchett?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Havey?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
12 ayes, 3 absent.
Resolution's approved. How would you like the reading of the audits today?
Collectively and by totals, please.
So moved by legislator Stockin. Is there a second? Thank you. Legislator Ricketts Swales. All those in favor say aye. Opposed?
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Could you please repeat the Mr. Stockin and then
Yes,
seconded by
legislator
Mrs.
Ricketts Swales.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm sorry. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay, that's carried.
General government support, $199,625.14. Education, $6,607.10. Public safety, $41,876.02. Health, $188,961.06. Bus transportation, $12,596.22. Economic assistance and opportunity, $799,249.06. Culture and Recreation, $17,666.96. Home and Community Services, $244,916.12. Our general fund totaled $1,511,497.68. Payroll and taxes totaled $1,163,124.06. Capital fund totaled $559,623.47. Other funds totaled $722,919.26, for a grand total of $3,957,164.47.
Is there a motion to approve the audit? Thank you, Mr. Fanton, seconded by legislator Root. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Ricky?
Yes.
Mrs. Ricketts Swales?
Yes.
Mrs. Root?
Yes.
Mr. Stockin?
Yes.
Mr. Barnes?
Aye.
Mrs. Burdick?
Yes.
Mr. Demick?
Yes.
Mr. Fanton?
Yes.
Mrs. Hanchett? Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Havy?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
12 ayes, 3 absent.
The audit is approved. Is there any other business to come before the board today? If not, would anyone care to make a motion to adjourn? Thank you, Mr. Ricky. Is there a second? Thank you, legislator Hanchett. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? And we are adjourned.